was telling the congregation this morning that in the year 2000, I'd been the pastor for quite a while. I'd been on a long and a hard run and was pretty threadbare and worn out and beat up, as that can happen sometimes. And somebody said, hey, why don't you go to the pastor's conference at Jacksonville First Baptist Church? And so I did, and I went. My brother and sister-in-law are here, Amy Leanne. She grew up in that church, a great church. Anyway, so I went down there, and they had different sessions and breakout sessions. And really the one that probably ministered to me the most was when I went to this guy named Dr. Richard Marks. And he just ministered to my soul. And there are just those pivotal moments in your ministry. This is a game changer. This gives me a whole new perspective in seeing my life, myself, how God sees me. And it was one of those times. Theology is important. Who is God? What is salvation? What are we to believe about God? That's important. But we need a strong biblical anthropology too, and that is, how does God see us, and how should we see ourselves? It's what naturally grows out of that. And there are these rare and gifted people like Dr. Richard Marks who have a unique giftedness for helping us, the rest of us, understand how to see ourselves as God sees us and to apply that in our daily life and relationships. And so we're honored tonight to have Dr. Marks. He has a PhD in counseling psychology, an MA in marriage and family therapy, an MA in religious education. He's a licensed professional counselor. He's going to tell you, man, that there are a lot of letters after his name, and if I sit here and gave you his whole resume tonight, he would never get to speak. But he speaks all across the country. He has a ministry that's called Connect Us for Life, and he travels all around doing marriage retreats. He speaks to businesses. He talks about emotional maturity and intellectual maturity. He's going to talk to us tonight. We felt like we needed a theme, and we feel like one of the areas that our churches and our pastors are asking about is the mental health needs of our members, and those that we encounter outside the church are so great today. There's so much depression, there's so much anxiety, there's suicidal tendencies, and the church, we're not immune from that. And it's inside the church, it's outside the church. We're facing a very broken society today, and there are a lot of reasons for that. But we have invited Dr. Marks, and he can share more about himself, but we're so blessed to have him. He's going to share now, and then we'll break to eat. And then we will come back at 6:30, and he will share 2 more times in the next celebration session. So, Dr. Marks, we're so glad to have you with us. Come and share with us.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
So I got 20 minutes because I know you all want to eat. All right? So I want to, if I'll give you a little bit of leeway, I want to introduce myself the way that I like to. Is that all right? So I am Dr. Richard Marks, but I go by Rick, not Dr. Rick, anything like that. Right? I do a PhD in counseling psychology, a master's in marriage and therapy, a master's in religious education from Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. I've got a BA in psychology. I'm an LPC. I'm an ordained minister, REV. I'm a clinical member of the AAMFT, CIA, UFO, EIEIO. Right? Got a lot of those common names. But really, the reason I do what I do is I grew up in a broken home. My father's side of the family, historically, are Ukrainian Jews. Muslims, Marxists, still Jewish. Jewish is a bloodline, so you can't not change a bloodline. But my mother's side of the family were Lebanese Muslims. Figure that one out. And when I was born, I was baptized Catholic. Do we eat halal or kosher? I don't really know. The pork turned out to be all right. All right? So I was born in 1961 to Barbara and Richard. They divorced after 5 years of marriage. At 5 years of marriage, there are 4 children. Kathy, Rick, Don, and Paul. My father got custody of all 4 kids. Back in the 60s, it was very rare. But the Marxists had a lot of power and influence and money, and they orchestrated events. My dad's a lawyer, my mom's a lawyer, and the judge were all friends. And my mom didn't get custody of us. I was raised to hate my biological mother. I did. I was raised by my father and my stepmother, not to call her mom or mommy, how to call her Mrs. Homo. My father had an anger problem he got from his father, and I used to think around 10 or 11 bought a cow prod used to shock us. My little brother got the worst of the violence. And so we did not grow up in a healthy home. My father, which I learned much later in my adult life, was actually having an affair with a woman who was my stepmother. And so I was raised by my dad and my stepmother. You couldn't bond emotionally to either of them because personally they didn't know how to bond as well. They both came from broken homes. And so when I left home at age 17, I was pretty messed, no, yeah, 17, I was 18, I was pretty messed up. By the way, my father raised us in the Atlanta Unity Church. All right, so I'm a religious mutt, okay? But I wanted to date this girl in high school. My father moved us from Miami to Georgia, so I claimed Atlanta home, moved in when I was about 9 years old. Wanted to date Lisa, and to date her, I had to get her father's permission. And so, first question he asked me was, are you a Christian? Well, I'm not anti-Catholic, because the only teaching I had about Jesus was my first 11 years of life was from my mother's side of the family. When I did visit her, I quit when I was 11. And so, the only thing I really knew about Jesus was what I was taught there. And so I told him I was a Christian because I knew I was. If you ask, well, how did you know? That with his background, it makes sense. I don't do drugs. I don't drink alcohol. I'm a nice kid. And I'm an American. What else would you be? For whatever reason, he allowed me to date her under one condition. I had to go to church with them. And they were Baptists. And my father hated Baptists. I came from a long-line Marine. I'm a proud 12-year Navy veteran. All right? And I never really did things the way that he wanted me to. But she was worth it. I went to church. Long story short, I came to faith in Christ in August of 1979 in a high school gym, South Top High School gym there in Smyrna, Georgia. But let me share something with you, folks. If you're dysfunctional when you get saved, you're dysfunctional after you get saved. I like to say it this way. Christianity is not immunity from your humanity. So many times we act and think that you're supposed to get over it and suck it up. And all I want to say is, you show me that spirit in Jesus. When people were broken, hurting, when he never said those things to them, he just ministered to them the 59 one another verses in the New Testament. He comforted them, he encouraged them, he supported them, he mourned with them, he laughed with them, Romans 12:15. And so I left home, joined the Navy, got stationed in Jacksonville, and I think you'll see my family up here behind me. I met my wife. When I was stationed in Jacksonville, Florida in 1980, got stationed there, met my wife. She comes from an alcoholic home, from a very broken family as well. So two broken people found each other. And I knew that if I didn't shape up and change my life, I was going to pass on a generational sin curse of addictions and divorce and brokenness to them. You see, my father could not raise his children to be healthy, mature adults. Want to know why? They weren't. My father, when he died 35 years ago at age 47, he was emotionally still a teenager. We're going to take a look at that in this first 20 minutes this evening. What does it mean to be a mature adult? You see, I've come to realization, and you don't have to agree with me, but we'll talk here in a minute about something else. You can be chronologically adult, but that doesn't make you an adult. Adult is a way of being. It requires emotional development. And my father was not emotionally adult. He was emotionally a teenager. And because he was an emotional adolescent, he could not raise his children to be healthy, mature adults because he wasn't one. And you can't raise your kids to be something that you're not. When I got married, and I was in the Navy still, when I got married to Luella, I emotionally was still a child. Did not know that I was a child, but I was. And so I recognized early on that if I don't get it together, I'm in trouble. And God put two men in my life, a man named Marshall and another man named Dudley, and those two men could give me what my dad could not give me. So that I could raise my kids to be healthy, mature adults. So standing for you now, right here today, I have been married 35 years to my wife. So of course, my goal is to do both my parents, all right? And the neat thing is, that's Luella up there. She comes from an alcoholic home. She had a lot of healing to do as well. She came from a religious system that was very, very legalistic. It damaged my oldest kids and my kids. I was never that way because I wasn't raised in the church. It was legalism, and it's a poison to the soul. We'll talk more about that tonight, and how we grow healthy, mature believers. You see, where the heart is free. The heart is free. Sometimes I think our systems repress the heart. We don't allow people to be free. And if you want to do that, you're going to create all kinds of psychological, emotional problems related to the brain. But I want to raise 3 healthy kids, and for the most part, I have. My oldest son is currently he's at Columbia University, working on a master's in public policy, focused on Asia. He's engaged to a Egyptian girl he met when he was in the Peace Corps in Indonesia, so he speaks Indonesian and English. My daughter Madison graduated Florida State University in the Middle Eastern Studies program. She's fluent in Arabic, and she actually lives in Dubai. She went to Georgetown, got a master's in Arabic studies there. She lives and works in Dubai, working with and advancing entrepreneurship among women in the Middle East and North Africa area of the world. And My youngest son, Jesse, currently is at Cambridge, working on a master's there, and also on the Schwarzman Scholarship, so we're going to China. He speaks Arabic fluently. He's written 20 articles on the Syrian refugee crisis, and is being considered one of the young and upcoming experts in the Middle East around those kinds of issues. I say all that not to brag on my kids. I say all that to say this. Anybody can stop a sin curse when they want to. The sins of the fathers will visit the third and fourth generation. But everybody quits quoting there. That's a fatalistic verse, folks. Don't stop quoting there. It goes on to say this, but the generation that follows my commands, I will bless 1,000 generations. And I banked on that many, many years ago. And I could look in out the window, only looked in the mirror, and I transformed my life, and I changed me. And as I changed me, the well and dismantling as well, so we can raise our kids to be healthy, mature adults, because I want them to be healthy, mature adults, and when they deal with issues in their world, I want to handle them in a mature way. Does that make sense? So real quickly, here's a resource page for you if you want to take a picture for free. I learned that from millennials. Don't copy, just take a picture, Dad. Okay, so there's a picture, all right? I submit to you 2 resources. If you want to be a student of the culture, particularly you young folks, these 2 books, to my mind, are invaluable to you. The first is called The Death of the Grown-Up by Diana West. The subtitle of her book is How America's Arrested Development is Bringing Down Western Civilization. Folks, we have mostly in America today are emotional children raising children. She actually takes that adolescent posture, how America became adolescent emotionally, and how that plays itself out in domestic policies, foreign policy, those kinds of things. But it is a very sobering look at our nation. The second book is by now Senator Ben Sasse, who's from Nebraska. He wrote a book called The Vanishing American Adult. And I'm here to tell you, it is a very sobering look at where we're headed. Where we're headed. There's a lot of leadership training going on. We have mostly today are immature adults. Why? The breakdown of the family has created it. The breakdown of the family has led to where we are today. There's other factors as well that Diana talks about. But in the end, if you are not a healthy, mature person, then you cannot live healthy, mature love. You don't have the ability. You can only be what you are. And you cannot raise your kid to be something that you're not if you can't give somebody something that you don't possess. And I had to grow up and become a healthy, mature adult. And to do that, I had to learn to be teachable. So what I want to do real quickly here is ask this question for you. You go ahead and give me the next slide there. If I were to ask you this question, what is the #1 health crisis in America today? Health crisis. Anybody? Anybody know what it is? Not mental health. What is it?
Addiction.
Not addictions.
Anxiety.
Not anxiety. You ready for it? Loneliness. Loneliness. Loneliness has physiological ramifications. Loneliness leads to anger, which leads to heart disease. It leads to depression. It leads to anxiety. And guess who pays for all that? The insurance companies. Insurance companies last fall, based on the data that's been coming out from the CDC, Harvard, and other national folks, said we need to fix the loneliness problem in America because it's costing us a lot of money. And God said it's not good that man should be. Folks, that alone is there. If you want to come to our marriage seminar, relationship seminars, feel free, but I'll prove it to you later, but not here. I promise you that verse has nothing to do with marriage. That verse has to do with how God created man to connect emotionally to God, self, and others. Because you could be married and very much what? And there's so many marriages that live in aloneness every single night. And Christian marriages are alone. And you can go to church alone, and you walk out still feeling alone. We're not connecting society. We're more disconnected than ever. And the insurance companies are wanting it fixed. I just find that fascinating. Why don't we? And please don't take this personally, but it's just who I am. You can do Great Commission seminars all you want. I haven't seen a Great Commandment seminar yet, which teaches people how to bond to God, self, and others. We all have to bond. I can prove it to you later. We need to do both, not just one. Now, before we get started with me tonight, I need to prepare your brain, all right? So then, as I prepare our brains for listening to me tonight, that circle represents all the knowledge that exists in the world. If that circle represents all the knowledge that exists in the world, how much knowledge do you think you actually possess of that knowledge? Anybody?
5%.
5%? Who said 5%? You are smart. All right? For me, somebody said like a little dot, so I'm going to put a little dot right there, but you can't see from where you are, but there's a little dot right there, and I have less than that. All right? But I need to make it big enough for us to see. Can we logically, rationally admit, based on all the knowledge that exists in the world, you don't know much, do you? We really don't know much, do we? Have you ever noticed, though, that when you're in conflict with somebody, your brain acts like it knows everything, doesn't it? Just be aware of that. In conflict, your brain acts like it knows everything, but you just admit it, you don't know much. Be aware of that. So we're going to take this realm of knowledge, we're going to divide it into categories. The first category is a category of the things you know. Then there's a category of the things you don't know. Now, what you know and what you don't know have one thing in common. Your brain knows what it knows, and it knows what it doesn't know. And what you know and what you don't know is a dot, and it isn't much. All right? Now, what is something that you know that you know? Hopefully you know that you know your name. Hopefully you know that you know whether you're male or female. Hopefully you know that you're sitting here tonight. Got it? So there's a realm of knowledge of things your brain knows that it what? It knows. There's a realm of knowledge that your brain knows that it doesn't know. What's something you know you don't know? Anybody?
Calculus.
You know you don't know calculus. You guys see how it works? I know I don't know brain surgery. I know that I don't know quantum physics. I know that I don't want to know quantum physics. Alright? Now, everything that happens in your life, everything that you experience gets filtered through your realm of knowledge, and that isn't much. Because the brain can only deal with the world around you, based on what? Because it knows what it knows, and it doesn't know, you don't know, is a dot, and isn't much, and everything that happens in your life gets filtered through your realm of knowledge. So here's a practical application how it looks. Luell and I are in an argument. I can only argue from my dot, she can argue from her dot, because we both know what we know. So we're arguing back and forth, defending what we know, defending what we know, we don't know, arguing back and forth from our realm of knowledge, which is a dot, and it isn't much. But in the midst of the argument, Luella says something, which is the massive area outside of the dot. She says something that I didn't know. Now, what's something you don't know you don't know? Exactly right. That's it. You don't know. And if you're sitting there going, what? It works this way. Before you ever heard my name, or saw me, you did not know that you did not know me. Right? And the reason you did not know that you did not know me is because you had no knowledge of me. The moment you gained knowledge of me, however you did gain knowledge of me, and that moment I became someone you know you don't know. So today I'm something you know you don't know. After tonight, you might not want to know me, but that would be a different conversation. You got it? And so here we are arguing back and forth. I'm arguing from my realm of knowledge, she's arguing from her realm of knowledge. And in the midst of the argument, she says something that I didn't know. You ever been there before? Yep. And when she said the thing that I didn't know, it conflicted with what I knew that I knew. Ever been there before? And when she said the thing that I didn't know, that conflicted with what I knew that I knew, in that moment, I also knew that I was wrong. Ever been there before, husbands? What do most people do in that moment? They defend themselves. Even though they know they're wrong, because what they didn't know, they defend themselves. Why? We say it this way in our world. It's because they're not teachable. I raised my kids to know one thing for sure. Mature people are teachable. Immature people are not. You always know mature people. They're teachable. Because mature people know there's a lot of things they don't know. And because they know there's a lot of things they don't know, they say what?
Teaching.
Or as the psalmist put it this way, wise men accept rebuke. Why do wise men accept rebuke? Because wise men know there's a lot of things they don't know. And because they know there's a lot of things they don't know, they also know this. There's a lot of things they don't know about themselves. David said in Psalm 139, interesting, search me and know my hidden thoughts. David is acknowledging that in me are thoughts that I know that I don't know. But you know them. Show them to me. Also learned this in my journey of growing and healing. Luella saw things in me that I didn't know about me. But she knew them. I didn't know them. And I came up with phrases in my life to grow and heal. And this is one of the phrases I came up with for myself. I now use it in my seminars around the country. The way you think you come across is not the way you do come across. And the way you think you're being experienced is not the way you are being experienced. And what matters more than how you think you are, believe you are, it matters how you are. Because how you are is very different than how you think you are. And people defend how they believe they are, but in the end, it's how you are that only matters. That makes sense? And so think of it this way. So I can pick on Greg since I know Greg, right? Let's say you say to Greg, hey Greg, did you know you have an anger problem? He'd say, I don't have an anger problem, because he knows what he knows. I go, okay, well how do you know that you don't have an anger problem? Well, because I know, Rick. I got that. I asked, how do you know that you don't have an anger problem? Because I know. I got that. I asked, how do you know that you don't have an anger problem? I just told you I know. Greg, did you know that you do this? You do this, you do this. Things he doesn't know that he doesn't know. No, I didn't know how to do those things. I said, you do, and those things suggest you're an anger problem. Well, actually, Greg, what you don't know is you do have an anger problem. Listen to how I'm going to word this. Listen to how I'm going to word this. What you don't know is you do have an anger problem. Listen to how I word this now. The issue here isn't whether you do or don't. The issue here is your inability to consider the possibility that what you think you know is something you don't know you don't know. Maybe you don't know you are controlling. Maybe you don't know you are immature. Maybe you don't know you have an addiction. Maybe you don't know fill in the blank. And people defend how they believe they are, but in the end, there's things about you that you don't know about you. And I always tell my kids, stay teachable, because the day that you live, if you know everything, in that moment that you live, if you know it all, one or two things happen in that moment. You became God, or you became a fool. And I don't think you're God. So don't prove to everybody that you're a fool. Stay teachable. Are you with me? I might say some things tonight that you don't agree with. It's just not in your realm of knowledge. I may be operating outside of your realm of knowledge. This is why they killed Jesus. Jesus did not operate in the realm of knowledge of the Pharisees. He operated outside of it. And because of it, they couldn't handle it. Hey, you can't touch a leper. Yes, I can. No, we know you can't. No, what you don't know is I can. Hey, you can't do that on the Sabbath. Well, what you don't know is I can. No, we know you can't. No, you don't know I can. See, people feel threatened when their realm of knowledge is challenged. But mature people are willing to consider the what? Possibility. Nothing happens in your life if you're not willing to consider possibility. Possibility is a way to get to where you want to be. And by the way, in order to consider the possibility, in order to be teachable, you have to be one word, and it's humility. And God gives grace to the humble, but he resists the proud. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so I want you to just kind of hang with me tonight, maybe consider some things that I believe, and maybe we can have some fun, all right? Now, real quickly, if you give me the next slide here, my whole mission in life has been for 30 years is teach people how to bond. Teach people how to live. I didn't know. It was in seminary. In seminary, I'm sitting outside here at Southwestern, in seminary housing, sitting outside my little house, my little apartment there in Seminary Village. A little girl walks by me, 4 or 5 years old, walks by, I'm sitting there, she comes by with a little tricycle. She says, hi. I said, well, hi. Question. Where does your mommy live? I couldn't answer. I didn't know. And I quickly said, Florida. And I went in the house and cried. And cried. First time I realized I don't have a mother emotionally. I never bonded. I never bonded with my dad. I remember how empty and alone I felt. No wonder I was so smothered in well in those early years of marriage. Because I was still looking for healthy connection. And sadly, what I learned in the church, if you want God's love, jump hurdles, perform. Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, you got to tithe, read your Bible every day. You got to wear a suit. All those things makes you good enough. What they don't know is that was a prison I lived in my own home. I knew how to jump hurdles, and I was still miserable. Until Father taught me, you can't make me love you, son. You know ability to make me love you. I love you regardless of you. You can't influence it, you can't affect it. Like, why? Because you're lovable, son. I don't die for things I hate. I die for things I value. Maybe I send a different message. He didn't die because you're a filthy, rotten, good sinner. He died because he valued you so much. Sin and death had gotten in the way, so he just sent his son to die on the cross to get sin and death away so he can love you and get you back home. All of this was an attempt to get his children back, who were wayward and couldn't get back. And I began to live out of that. Now, what I want to do here in the next few minutes, and I'll wrap it up, is this. I want to talk about this idea of maturity. It is possible to be a chronological adult, and not emotionally an adult. So what we're going to do before we break for dinner here is I'm going to go through the stages of emotional development. I don't have this written out for you, but if you'd like to take a picture of it, you feel free. Get your phones out, okay? Now, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to compare each stage to the chronological stage. Chronological infants can do nothing for themselves. They can do nothing for themselves. Is it up here already? Okay. Well, next time we'll try to put them up there. But, so just kind of hang with me and don't read up there yet, all right? We'll read in just a minute. All right, because you'll lose a piece of what I want you to know. Chronological infants can do nothing for themselves. They're completely dependent on the world around them for their survival. They can do nothing for themselves. They have no verbal skills, so they can't ask for what they want. So if an infant who is completely dependent and needy wants something, what do they do? It screams and cries. What it's really saying is, I want something to eat, right? In the world of a chronological infant, then, it is the center of the world, and the environment exists for its survival. And if the environment does not take care of the needs of the infant, it will what? It will die. So in the world of a chronological infant, then, because it is the center of the world, that actually isn't mom's breast, it's actually mine. And what it's saying is, screaming, crying, give me my breast, I want something to eat. Normal for a chronological infant. But an adult who is an emotional infant operates the same way. Here it is. You have what I need and I need it. You owe me touch, attention, adoration, desire, and delight in me, and I simply need you, and nothing else required of me but for you to give me. And I'm entitled to all your time, attention, energy, love, and services. And I am outraged if you do not give to me or to someone else instead of me. I feel helpless and I never get enough, and my needs are constant. And I will not tolerate you having any ideas, feelings, or interests that do not center in gratifying me. So I will force you to give to me. Because I have to stay in charge, and then here's the dependency. Because I cannot live without you. These adults are tyrants. They operate this way. I want what I want when I want it, and you are nothing more than an object to give me what I want. And you can be a pastor who's an emotional infant. You can be a deacon who's an emotional infant. These adults rarely stay married, and if you do stay in a relationship with these kinds of people, you allow them to strip you of your value work, because they take everything. And there are people out there, I've worked with them, who are emotional infants. They've never matured. Now, the next one is a child. Chronological children have to move from that's my breast to that's mom's breast. That's sister's bike, but I want to ride it. All right? Children have verbal skills. They can ask for something. I want juice. I want a hug. But when a child who's still dependent needy, chronological child who's still dependent needy, when it wants something, what do children do to try and get their needs met? Whine, manipulate, threaten. Right? I don't love you, Daddy. I'm not playing with you. You're not my friend. That's normal. You just parent that. That's children's brains. Got it? But this next one was me, because that's my dad had to raise me. All right? Now, emotional children. Let's take a look at that. An emotional child operates the same things. Where the infant is, you owe me because it's mine. Here, it's you have things that I want. So I'm going to take them from you. So I will lie, trick, manipulate, charm, or whine to get what I want. And I'll seek revenge and punish you if you do not give me what I want. And I'll get even with you for the pain that you actually caused me by not doing what I want. And I'm going to hide my truth in order to get what I want. And I'm going to use all the stress response of the lower brain, fight, flight, and freeze, to get my way. And when you give interest in other things, it means you don't love me or I'm not good enough to you. So I'm going to use negative attention to get your attention. And I'm going to test you as well as I can trust you and love my importance to you. And here's why. Because I need frequent reassurance about my lovability, my adequacy, and my importance to you. This is who Love married, was that guy right there. Or she used to say, you're like a boulder around my neck. And I go, it shouldn't meet my needs, I'll be fine. I would take. Because I didn't have a sense of self. It was never imparted into me. It was never spoken over me. And this is the best I had, the way I was raised. And I had to learn to grow up. I'm grateful that I did. Now, teenagers, chronological teenagers, are trying to figure out two things: independence versus dependence. Healthy adults learn interdependence. Healthy adults realize, hey, I'm still dependent, but I have to have a sense of independence. But teenagers hear those two things as if they're in conflict. And they don't want to be a child, they want to be a what? An adult. They don't want to be dependent, they want to be independent. So if you tell a teenager to do something, you get the attitude like, don't tell me what to do. I'm going to do things my way. And you're not going to control me, Dad. That's why I did not allow teenagers, adolescents. Those terms were not allowed in my home. Born from my Jewish heritage, all my kids had a Christian bar mitzvah. They went from childhood to adulthood, and I always treated them that way. As of today, you've entered adulthood. You're a young man, and I will treat you as a young man. The term teenager just means how long you've been alive. It has no other meaning than that. I don't call myself a 57-ager. There's no reason for you to call yourself a teen. Just about how long you're alive and how long your brain's been out here, right? Outside of that, you're a young man now. Paul said when I was a child, I acted like a child. When I became an adult, I put away childish things. When do you become an adult in America? 18. Somewhere in the past, somebody gave it an age. So let's take a look at our laws now. 15 will let you drive. 16, you can really drive. 18 will let you vote, drive, and we'll train you to kill people in the U.S. military. But we don't trust you to drink because you're not mature enough to take 21. Now I ask you again, based on our laws, when do you become an adult? Our laws don't know. Adulthood is an emotional state, not a legal age. Not a legal age. So, this is my father, by the way. He couldn't tell him to do anything. So what is an emotional adolescent? Here we go. My autonomy, my sense of independence is threatened by my needing anything from relation because it implies to me that I'm still a child, even if I do need it, so there's a dependency. And I misunderstand your request as an attempt to control me, and I respond with, don't tell me what to do. I feel rebellious when you criticize, correct, or direct me in any way, and I feel and act as if I know everything. And you can't tell me anything. Here's why. Because I want adult power and privilege, but I don't want adult responsibility. And I'll compare my fortunes, capabilities, and performance to others because I always have something to prove. And I cannot listen to you with empathy because I perceive your reality is a criticism of me, my beliefs, and my behavior. So I need space to feel autonomy and freedom. This is why men will go off to a bar or go watch TV. The number one reason, those guys college here, the number one reason college male freshmen are dropping out of college today in the first year of college, video games. Video game addiction is growing. It lights up the same areas of the brain as porn as cocaine does. They have not learned that a game is a game and life requires maturity. And yet they're considered adults. I cannot listen to you. I need space to feel autonomy and freedom. I'm unable to consider consequence for risk-taking or breaking. I believe that to prove to you that I'm not dependent. You cannot stay in healthy relationships with these kinds of people because they do not have the adult capacity for it in conflict. Because when conflict comes, they default to this part of them. And you cannot handle conflict at an adult level as long as you are one of these kinds of people. That was my father. He died at an emotional adolescent at age 47, 35 years ago. I had to grow up so I can raise my kids to be mature adults. And I had to impart that into them, but I couldn't if I wasn't it myself, nor will them. Two traits that mature adults have, the other three lack, particularly when it comes to conflict. In conflict, mature adults move to compassion, and they move to cooperation. The other three move to defensiveness, thus are operating out of pride and the lack of cooperation. So what is a healthy mature adult? Here we go. Oh, by the way, let me say this. I believe strongly that if we are living out the heart of the gospel message, it forces you to become this kind of a person. The gospel will force you to become this person if you're living out the heart of it. I have found we value the mind of the gospel, not necessarily the heart of it. And this is why we have so much immaturity today. People can quote you Hebrew and Greek. I've worked with prominent church leaders, but they're highly immature men. But everybody values their preaching ability. God doesn't. It does not say the greatest of these is your ability to preach. The greatest of these is what? And do you know that love requires maturity? Do you know that? To love well, you got to be an emotionally mature person. So what is mature adult? Here you go. I can listen with empathy without demanding, which is the infant. Manipulating, which is the child, or rebelling, which is the adolescent. I can give and receive pleasure without fear of unbearable loss, which is the infant. Lack of control, the child, or loss of autonomy, the adolescent. I can speak completely on my own behalf. A healthy mature adult, you know, when you do that, I feel betrayed. They'll speak the truth, but they'll do it in love. To speak the truth in love requires maturity. I can speak congruently on my behalf, and I can speak on behalf of our relationship, even if I know it's going to hurt you. Why? Because faithful is the wound of a friend. I can express hurt, fear, and anger about feeling betrayal without undue withdrawal or attempting to control you. And I can sustain emotional intensity with you, and I can be with you in your intensity without taking it personal. Lil may be upset about something I've done. The mature part of me can go, wait a minute, this is just her perspective, what's going on. I don't have to personalize it. I can be there for her. My old days took it personal, and I couldn't be there for her. I can ask for what I need, want, or prefer without controlling, engulfing, manipulating, and running from you. Here's why. Because I have a solid autonomy built on core beliefs and personal existence. This body up here in front of you is not taking up space. God intended it to be here, and I'm grateful. That I am lovable, because the cross declares that I am lovable. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, he says. How marvelous are your thoughts of me, O Lord. The psalmist says, there's just too many to count. Only thoughts that I knew is how bad I was. It was hard for me to reconcile with God wonderful thoughts of me more than the sands of the seashore. I've come to realize he does, and I'm grateful for that. I'm adequate, and I'm willing to have needs met in cooperation with others. I have the capacity and the right to seek fulfillment in a variety of ways in addition to what I find in you. And I believe that we can love and be loved, that bonding is a pleasure, and it's a necessity made by God, and it's nurturing to us both. And I have the capacity to join you in mutual concern and empathy. It is my personal opinion that if we were teaching the gospel message correctly, and people were living it out, they would become this kind of a person, and the culture is looking for this. They're looking for this kind of love, which requires two mature adults. You don't find mature adults divorcing. You find immature adults divorcing. Because they don't know how to deal with conflict. And they allow these other issues to get in the way of love. I just don't live that way. You can get my message this morning here, the power of us. I live for us, I don't live for me. Requires maturity, but that's how I live my life. And I love it a lot better. Does that make sense? So when we get to the next two sessions, just give me a little leeway. If I say something that you didn't know that conflicts with what you know, your brain isn't back, wants to shut me out, just hang with me. I might not be speaking in your realm of knowledge, but I maybe say something you just don't know yet. But if you embrace what I have to say, it'll increase your realm of knowledge, and you can work on those parts of you and learn something you didn't know. That makes sense? Can I close with a prayer? Father, thank you so much that you love us. You've called us to grow and mature in love. I pray, Father, that you bless each of the churches that are represented here, the families that are here, the individuals. And Father, may this be a challenge for all of us just to grow, not just in knowledge, but Father, in love. That we might position our hearts and send our hearts toward love. It's in Christ's name I pray, for your glory, my brothers and sisters' benefit. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, brother.